Today I'm going to talk about whether it's better to have loved and lost than never have loved at all. Hey guys, welcome back to another Thursday video with Bailey. Today, or yesterday, was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day or belated Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope everyone ate lots of chocolate. I didn't. I'm on a diet. So today, I'm not going to be doing a romantic, regular style Valentine's Day video. I'm going to be talking about the 47-year-old case of the Valentine's Day killer. So let's get into the case. February 12th, 1971, so 47 years ago, on Monday was the 47th year anniversary of this case. This case involves Jesse McBain, a 19-year-old, and his girlfriend Patricia Mann, a 20-year-old. They were going to a Valentine's Day dance at Patricia's school or workplace. She was a nursing student at Watts Hospital in North Carolina, and they went to a Valentine's Day dance around 9 p.m. The dance was to end at 1 a.m., but they left early around 11:30 at night, so kind of significantly earlier than everyone else. So they went back to Patricia's dorm. They left her dorm, and it was suspected they left around midnight, and then they said they would be back by 1 a.m., which was curfew at the school. So Patricia's roommate went back to the dorm at 1 a.m. curfew, and Patricia still was not back. So they didn't think too much of it at the time because it was Valentine's Day. She was with her boyfriend, so they're like, maybe they just lost track of time or something. So the next morning, Patricia and Jesse still had not shown up. Their families did not know their whereabouts. The roommate did not know their whereabouts, so Patricia's roommate called the police. The police showed up and said that they weren't going to make an official missing persons case because they've been only gone for a couple hours, and it might just be they went out, fell asleep, and just didn't return. About 2 days later, the families were notified, and that's when the official missing persons case went out. It's suspected that on February 12th, the young couple drove out to a rural Lover's Lane, so it was this back country road in the middle of the woods or whatever, and they drove out there to Lover's Lane and had a good time. I don't know what they were doing out there, but you can just suspect on Valentine's Day, just the young couple. So then they notified the families, and Patricia's cousin said, quote, "I got the sickest feeling in my stomach that something terrible had happened. She was a good girl. She went by the rules." End quote. She also said, quote, "Days before she went missing, something was bothering her, but I never got the chance to ask what." End quote. So we'll never know what was bothering her or if there was something actually wrong days leading up to the disappearance. All we know that her cousin did state that she suspected something was wrong before this had happened. So 13 days later, on February 25th, a surveyor of land found what he thought was a mannequin's leg under a pile of leaves in the woods. After brushing some leaves away, he had discovered the bodies of both Patricia Mann and Jesse McBain. It's suspected that the killer found them on Lover's Lane, drove them out to a more rural area, so he got into the car with them. He tied both of them up, put them in the trunk of her car, and then drove them out into a more wooded, more secure area. They had been found with both hands tied behind their backs individually and then tied together around a tree with ropes around their necks, but the marks on the autopsy, and I'll put the autopsies in a little bit later in the video, showed that there was signs of strangulation, but it was repeated strangulation. So what the killer did was strangled them till they were unconscious, and then loosened the rope a little bit so they came back into consciousness, and then strangled them again, and then they went unconscious, and then loosened the ropes and they came back to consciousness, and then he repeated that, it said, about 5 or 6 times before he actually killed them. And the point of death were stab wounds to the chest for both Jesse and Patricia. There was also identical injuries on both Jesse and Patricia, but they did find that Patricia had a split about 1/2 inch in her liver, which was from a big blow to the stomach. So Jesse did not uphold that injury, but Patricia did, so it might be a sign that she struggled more. So, a police officer on the case said, quote, "The suspect knew the area and knew the location where the bodies were found. It's our opinion this wasn't the first time he came down here. He felt comfortable torturing and murdering these 2 young people. He felt comfortable enough that no one was going to come and that no one could hear them cry, scream, plead, or what have you." End quote. So they did suspect that it was a man or woman. They did suspect a man in the first place, that someone would be strong enough to obviously do a blow to her stomach that was going to split her liver, but also obtain 2 people at once. So they did suspect a man. They did not have any solid suspects. The first suspect was a man from Georgia that had killed 9 people in Georgia and both Carolinas up to this point, but he did have an alibi in Georgia, and there was solid proof he was in Georgia at the time of the killing, so there was no way it could have been him. The other suspect was an unnamed doctor from Watts Hospital where Patricia was practicing. They didn't give too much description on him or why he might have been the killer, but the police did say they do have some sort of solid evidence that they couldn't disclose. And also, when they asked for a DNA test from the doctor, he refused to give one. That's obviously not solid evidence, but it's just a fact that I want you guys to think about, that they do apparently have solid evidence on him. They apparently do have motive, because she was a very good nursing student, and he was afraid that she might take his position, and now he doesn't want to give any DNA test. So there are some things that may or may not be suspect. I think he might be a solid suspect, but we're here 47 years later. I don't know if he is still alive, because it never did give a name. So the case went cold at the end of the year. Like there was nothing. The only thing left at the crime scene was a rope, and I'll put a picture in next. That rope was the only thing the killer had left behind. There was nothing else. There was DNA on the rope, DNA in the car, and the rope was the only thing that he had or she had left behind. They did get DNA for the rope, and did test people for it. Some people did comply, some people tested and they were ruled out immediately. Other people got alibis and ruled out, but there were some people or some person that refused to take a DNA test. But 24 years later, in 1995, someone had anonymously called both victims' family, made 2 separate calls, one to the McBain family, one to the Mann family, confessing to this crime. Someone had called up these family and they're like, "Hey, killed your son. Hey, I killed your daughter." And they said that they were going to confess to the police for the crimes, and they felt that they had done this crime and needed to be brought to justice. But this person that called, which was a male's voice, it was a male's voice that the family got calls from, never contacted the police whatsoever. They did trace the call back to a Loman's Plaza less than a mile away from where the couple was abducted, but it was a payphone, so there was no way of telling who had used the payphone, and there was no security footage from the plaza. So was it someone that actually did the crime? Was it someone playing an obscure and cruel joke on both families, like confessing to this horrid crime and like not having any involvement? We'll never know that. This case is dry. There's no more evidence on the case. These two kids were just killed out of either bad blood or just a killing for fun, which is the worst. Like, who just kills for fun? And that's the whole case. There is nothing else, and to this day this case has been unsolved. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of a different twist I added on Valentine's Day. I hope that you guys had a safe and non-bloody Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, that was not the case for these two young kids that plan to have a family and get married, which is, it's so sad. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys tune in next week for a new theme. I'm not gonna give away the theme quite yet. Make sure to follow the Instagram below. I'll put that in the description, because we do give you guys heads up on what's coming next week, and we'll give that to you. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for Jen's video. I know she's doing something great tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for the rest of the week and watch every single Valentine's Day video this week. If you didn't watch prior videos, make sure to go back and watch those. And have a fantastic week, guys. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye!